obviously you knew what to expect. I mean, you helped put the thing together, but I mean, seeing all the protocols, seeing everything play out, what's your initial impression of actually getting a physical look at everything?
I mean, still blown away. I know we spent a lot of time preparing for this, and when it's all on paper, and all the logistical challenges you have to go through, and you sort of see the process coming together. But there's nothing like the physical manifestation. Actually, getting here, seeing, the physical space, and then of course going through the procedures that we went through. We're really proud of what we've been able to do first in Florida, and then of course in Las Vegas with our health and safety protocols. But we've really taken this thing to a new level, and we couldn't have done that without the cooperation we've had with literally 20 different departments here in Abu Dhabi. They've been a partner of ours for over 10 years, and they're no doubt the best partner we've got in the world. It's just incredible what we've been able to do here at Fight Island.
I was going to ask how it came together because we spoke to the department tourism yesterday, and they said, Dana called up. They said, let me make a few phone calls. Yeah, we can do that. I imagine it was a little more complicated than that, but I mean, how did this all come together? Because as you said, it's a pretty massive undertaking.
Well, I think the first thing is this relationship with the government of Abu Dhabi started over a decade ago. They invested in the UFC. They've always been supporters of ours. We've obviously done a series of events here over the years, and so we have a long history together. We've just entered into a sort of a 5-year deal, and of course they distribute our content through Abu Dhabi Media. So this whole thing started 10 plus years ago. Now, of course, Dana came up with the idea of Fight Island, and Dana's come up with some great ideas over the years. This is right at the top of the list. And of course, as we started looking at potential opportunities, of course, what Yas Island in Abu Dhabi had to offer was really second to none. I mean, it couldn't be duplicated anywhere else in the world. So very quickly, we pivoted towards this opportunity. And as we just discussed, I mean, it's just exciting to see it all coming together in person. And of course, we're one day, really a day and a half, I guess, away from this fight taking place.
I think a lot of people are curious how the finances of this work, right? Like, it's clear there's some real commitment to getting this thing done properly. What can you tell us about that? I know you don't typically disclose, but what can you tell us about who's bearing the brunt of this, or how this works financially?
Yeah, this is a partnership. I mean, this is another manifestation of the relationship that we've had with Abu Dhabi for more than a decade. So it's a partnership where we're putting on these events, and that's when you have a partner, everybody sort of steps up and does their thing, and that's what we're doing here.
The protocols, you said it's over the top over even what we did in Florida, what we did in Vegas. Is there anything that you've seen or that you've witnessed here that you think, man, we've got to take that back because that's a nice step that we could utilize?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things that we've done since this whole COVID era started is, with respect to the events, we're trying to get better, with every single event. We've got a saying, which is the plan is written in pencil, which means to us that, we're going to be erasing, we're going to be changing, we're going to be getting better with every event. What we've learned here in Abu Dhabi with our partners in Abu Dhabi is, a variety of protocols, certainly on the testing front, but also on the operations front. I mean, these guys are dialed in here. I mean, you're here. You've been at other events. You've seen, what I thought was great, but as I said, we've taken this thing to a new level. So there's so many things that we've learned through this partnership. We've only been here a couple of days. We haven't even done an event yet, but there's so many things we've already learned that we're going to be taking back to Las Vegas when we do those 9 events at Apex in August.
Right. I wanted to ask you about the partnership and kind of the future here. I think the idea was to come back here in September for a pay-per-view. I'm wondering how that may be affected since we're so close to that time frame now. Can you tell us anything about that kind of, I know it was never fully announced, but that was kind of the concept, what the status of that event is?
Yeah, I mean, that's a Dana White question. When it comes to anything relating to fights, you got to ask Dana on that one.
Fair enough. What do you see as the future? I mean, I guess it's kind of a fight question as well, but I mean, do you see another run of events coming? I mean, I know it's kind of tough for us all to predict the future and what's going to happen, government regulation-wise, but do you see another run of Fight Island shows happening anytime soon?
Listen, first of all, I know we're going to be doing more fights here in Abu Dhabi because we've got, of course, a contract that extends another 4 years here. So I know we're going to be back here. I mean, once again, this world is so crazy in this COVID era where it's virtually impossible to predict anything that I don't know. But all I know is, what we've done here, already, and we haven't even had an event, has been incredible. I don't know why we wouldn't be coming back here whenever we can.
Nice. Last thing for me, it was announced moments before you walked in here about the Venum deal, the partnership there. I'm just curious what you can tell us about that as to why that direction. I mean, it seems, obviously it's a brand that hardcore MMA fans are actually pretty familiar with, but I know normally you guys like to align yourself with the top brands. So that seemed like kind of a curious selection. What can you tell us about why that deal was struck?
Well, first of all, we've had a great relationship with Reebok, and that's coming to an end. As we looked at, sort of what the opportunities were out there, we had a couple of criteria that were really important to us. Of course, there's a money aspect to that, and we'll get to that in a moment. But, there's also this aspect of the equipment itself. What we didn't want to have is equipment that was essentially built for another sport or built for general training that then you put the UFC logo on and magically it's now the uniform. It was incredibly important to us, as it was with the Reebok deal, that the equipment that we're going to be giving to our athletes be specifically created for mixed martial arts athletes. And Venum delivered on that, because that's their history. They've always been a leader in the mixed martial arts equipment space, and so that was a really, really important factor to us. Going back to the money thing, we've announced, we're proud of what we've paid to the athletes via the athlete outfitting policy. We're also very proud to say that when this Venum deal goes into place, the athletes will be getting a meaningful increase in fees paid to them associated with the athlete outfitting policy. So we haven't, I don't have the exact schedule for you here today. That will be disclosed later. But as I said, we can report here today that it's a meaningful increase effective. I believe it's April 21. I think that's.
I'm sure the fighter's going to be asking, what does meaningful mean? I mean, is there a ballpark figure of what kind of number meaningful is?
Meaningful means meaningful.
If you could, you alluded to earlier with how the world continues to change, but when you look at this achievement that you've done here, what was the biggest challenge you guys had to overcome to get this to happen?
There are a variety of challenges. Obviously, moving a lot of people from around the world to, Abu Dhabi, of course, was a logistical challenge. I think, certainly, the testing protocols, as you know, I mean, the pre-flight tests, immediately when you hit the ground, getting tested again, of course, the 48-hour quarantine and a variety of other things. I mean, those were all challenges in a sense, but they were also, I think, great structural changes that we've made to the plan to, as I said, to make these events as safe as they possibly can be. So, I mean, yes, there are logistical challenges to putting on these events, but when you've got a great partner like we do in Abu Dhabi, you overcome any challenges.
How many contingency plans do you guys have in place in case, let's say, worst case scenario, someone tests positive on the island? How much have you thought to what could happen negatively instead of just getting people here at the beginning?
Yeah, the good news is that we've done 8 events. So, we've sort of seen a few things. We've learned a few things. We've actually been game planning with respect to potential things that could happen in those events. So I think we've got contingency planning with respect to, certainly most scenarios that could occur. And once again, this is another thing that we planned out with our partners here in Abu Dhabi. And if somebody does test positive while they're here, there's a whole set of protocols that go into place to deal with that situation.
Do you think this could have been done anywhere else in the world, or do you think you needed a partnership existing already to help make this happen?
I'm not sure this could be done anywhere else in the world for a couple of reasons. Of course, as you've heard me say several times, great partner. Obviously, the physical location, being on an island. Third, the infrastructure. I mean, the infrastructure is incredible what we've got here. We've got incredible hotels. We've got, of course, an amazing arena where we're going to be doing the events. We've got the ability to sort of, really create a bubble and control the environment. So I'm not sure this particular situation can be duplicated anywhere else in the world.
Speaking of COVID test, what's the average time, turnaround time on the test results?
It's a great question. I mean, what we've essentially done is we know we're going to get tests within 48 hours of the time they're tested, but they're obviously coming in, quicker than that. And, we're not obviously the only people that are getting tests here. I mean, first of all, they have huge capacity. I mean, this country is incredible when it comes to, COVID-19 testing. I believe, and virtually everybody in the country has been tested at least, one time. So they obviously have a large testing capacity. They're obviously testing for their population, for healthcare workers, first responders, et cetera. So, at the end of the day, we've got to get our group of tests in that queue. And all I can say is so far, so good. Tests have come in well below that 48-hour threshold. And some have come in, really within a matter of hours. So it just depends, I believe, on, what the other demands are. And of course, first responders, healthcare workers, people that are actually in the hospital and sick, of course, that's more important than what we're doing here.
Your other workers here on this safe zone and local media people, they had to come in weeks earlier compared to us who just quarantined for 24 or 48 hours. Why was this distinction between local people and the others coming in?
As part of the overall protocols, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that need to be in, on the island to make all this stuff work, the hotels, the restaurants, all the logistics. So they certainly, had to get here a bit earlier. But I think the testing protocols for everybody that has come in for the actual fights has been as I said, it's a new level certainly for us. I mean, the 48 hours of quarantine, the pre-flight testing, the multiple tests that we've had, all of us have had while we've been here, really has set a standard, not just for us, frankly, but I'm talking about the world of sport. I'm not aware of anybody that's doing anything at the level we're doing here in Abu Dhabi.
I wasn't at the other events in Florida and Las Vegas, but I'm not sure if the UFC did the PCR test every time they were using different tests. Is that correct? And now you're only getting tested with the PCR?
Yeah, my understanding is the tests that we did in Florida and Las Vegas were all the, essentially the same, antigen tests that we've been doing. There are certain nuances between the tests, and I'm not a medical or scientific expert to give you these sort of details, but at least in general, my understanding, it was the same type of test. It wasn't an antibody test or anything like that.
Are you guys doing any contact tracing for the ones that come back positive?
Yeah, we're absolutely. I mean, we've got a contact tracing protocols that are absolutely in place. If we have positive tests, when we have positive tests, for sure.
The first time we heard about Fight Island, people across the world got crazy with the idea of watching fighters fighting inside an octagon on the beach because of the pictures. We know that it's a crazy idea because it's too damn hot out there. Right? And yesterday I asked this guy here, and he said it's up to the UFC. If UFC wants to do it, we can work it out. It's possible. Is UFC interested in this idea to make this possible for fans? Of course, for fighters, it would have to be in the right conditions. But is this an idea that you would like to work?
We've done several outdoor events in the past around the world, and it's certainly possible to do events in an outdoor setting. You noted it. It's definitely a little hot outside right now. Understatement of the year. It's definitely hot outside right now, and first of all, we got to make sure we've got a safe environment for the athletes. And we got to make sure that they can compete. And obviously, what we're doing on Fight Island with the incredible facilities that Abu Dhabi has built for us is going to, I think, deliver all of the excitement and all of the sort of great visuals that you would have on the beach, but in a great environment that's temperature controlled, that is, the type of environment that our athletes are used to competing in.
And right now we understand why Abu Dhabi is the right place to have this event right now during these times. But is the UFC looking for any other place around the world? Is there any other place in the world that are a little bit closer to have the UFC event, or right now the only options are US and Abu Dhabi?
No, we certainly have other options. I mean, the question is, what are the best options? And as we sit right now, with our Apex facility in Las Vegas, and of course what we've been able to put together here in partnership with Abu Dhabi here at Fight Island, I mean, just two great options for our athletes that are primarily based in the United States and those that are, primarily based outside of the United States. So, yeah, we're always looking at other locations, and I'm sure as the world sort of hopefully gets closer to normal again, we're going to be going back to many of the locations that we visited in the past. But, I mean, right now, under the circumstances that we've got two great options in Abu Dhabi and of course, UFC Apex in Las Vegas.
Well, can I ask, obviously there's an overarching objective here for Abu Dhabi in terms of presenting it to the world and saying we're open again for major events, global events. What do you say to that as a destination? And have you been contacted by other entities, sporting bodies, to ask them your thoughts on this so far?
Well, if you're asking, about other sporting entities about wanting us to do something like we've done here in Fight Island, the answer is yes. I mean, Dana and myself and others are, constantly being contacted now because of the fact we've proved that we're going to do an exciting event in a place like Abu Dhabi. Hey, can you come here? Dana and I had a call the other day with a major sports organization that owns a stadium saying, please come to do a series or at least one event at our facility. So, the answer is absolutely yes.
But would you recommend Abu Dhabi? I know you've only been here for a short space of time, but would you recommend Abu Dhabi to other organizations?
For sure. I mean, first of all, this is the 5th or 6th time I've been to Abu Dhabi. We've done a series of events here, for over the last, 10 years. We're just in the middle, as you know, of a series of events here. I don't think there are a lot of locations anywhere in the world, including, and I'm hugely biased. I love Las Vegas. I'm from Las Vegas, but even including Las Vegas, that give the resources and the the infrastructure, incredible hotels, the ease of getting around. I mean, how close are we to the airport? It's incredible if you're coming in from all over the world. So I mean, what Abu Dhabi has to offer, in particular Yas Island has to offer for any event, I think is pretty close to, as good as it gets.
Have you guys had a chance to think beyond this whenever you do return here? Anything in place for maybe something extra special for Abu Dhabi again? Because they do tend to kind of aim for that, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, listen, whenever we do events here, it's always special. But as I mentioned, we're in the middle of this, 5-year, event partnership. We've also got a content distribution deal. So we're going to always put on big events here in Abu Dhabi. And, that's going to be coming for many years to come.
Again, just lastly, Dana had mentioned a while ago about maybe jumping back and forth. I know we've touched upon it here. We don't know what the landscape will be, but, how likely is that to happen? Maybe if things continue without any fans, etc.
Yeah.
Could we see the promotion jumping back and forth?
I have to ultimately defer to Dana on that one, but I think the answer is why not? At least for me, why not? But I'm deferring to Dana on that one.
I just had one question. Obviously, we don't know what the times are going to look like in the future, but if you were to guess, do you think Abu Dhabi over Vegas or any different destination would be the first place to actually experiment with having a live crowd?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we're actually talking about that last night about, how could we logistically, as long as we're sort of still in a COVID era, figure out how to get, a full stadium of people in an event. I mean, one thing that Dana has said, is that he really doesn't want to go to arenas that are 25% full or 50% full. When he wants to get back to putting on events in front of spectators, what he wants in his mind is to have the typical UFC experience, a full stadium of people enjoying the event. So the question is, how do you do that? And, as we've been discussing, all day today, it's a logistical challenge, but the resources, the technology, all the things that Abu Dhabi has to offer make it, a pretty interesting opportunity here. I mean, if there's any place that can do it first, it's probably going to be Abu Dhabi.
Can I ask, just to follow up on that, what do you think the time frame is for major sporting events to welcome fans back? I know there's government decisions to be made, but what do you guys think? What's your hunch?
It's tough to say. I mean, first of all, I think there's geographic differences. What's happening in one country is different than in another country. I mean, even in the U.S., what's happening in parts of the U.S. is very different than other parts of the United States. I don't know. I was just reading about, the Big Ten, college football, basically saying we're canceling all of our non-conference games and we're not taking off the table canceling the entire college football season, which is like blowing my mind. I mean, that's crazy. So, I mean, I think that's just an example of how we just don't know what's coming. And, listen, we're no different than anybody else. We don't want to put on any events that would create, an unsafe environment for anybody. And so we've been able, in this situation with these closed events, with all the controls and the testing and everything that we've got to do things in a safe manner. The question is, how do you figure out a scenario where you can do that with spectators in the arena? And it's tough. It's tough. I don't know the answer to that.
In terms of preparation and operations, logistics and testing, you've seen what has to be done. Would you consider Fight Island and Abu Dhabi the blueprint for world-class sporting events that can be probably shared with other organizers to kind of follow the lead of what's being done here on Fight Island?
I would call it a blueprint, and I would also call it sort of the gold standard. I mean, we actually have a blueprint that we've used in Florida, and I think we upgraded for Las Vegas. But I think the blueprint that we've got here for this particular set of events is truly the gold standard. It's exactly, what everybody should be shooting for. And, as a place to do major events, with the infrastructure that's here, with the ability to control, with all of the, other resources that have been provided to us, I just don't see there being any better scenario for putting on major events. So yes, it's a blueprint, but I think it's literally the gold standard for major events. All right, thanks everybody.